Now, I can't possibly provide you with legal advice in this forum, and it's not offered as such. Think of it as education or attorney advertising, but not legal advice. And with that out of the way, let's talk about the law. It's actually quite easy to inadvertently select a relatively weak trademark. The marks themselves, irrespective of other people's marks, and we often compare them with other people's marks so that we have one that's unique, but it's not about uniqueness. This is about the strength and protectability of the mark itself, okay? And there's a hierarchy of strength from very weak, unprotectable, essentially, to very strong. And I'm gonna unpack that for you. My name's David Bosland from Bosland Law. I'm an intellectual property attorney, and I like to answer questions on videos. This question comes from Alicia. Hi, Alicia. But if you've got questions you think I could answer in a video like this, reach out to me. I'm easy to get a hold of. You can book time with me. There's a link in the description of this video and all my videos, or you can go straight to my website, bosland.law, and get a hold of me through there. And I'm happy to do this. I enjoy doing it. So again, what we're going to talk about here is the hierarchy of the strength of marks, their inherent strength, okay? And what I'm going to give you right now is a graphic that you can pause and read through it, and it might help you understand this. But I'm not going to dwell on that. I'm just going to come back here, and feel free to go back to that at any time you like. But let me talk you through it. Let me unpack this for you. I'm going to start at the bottom. The very bottom would be a mark that's referred to as generic. A generic mark can't have any trademark protection associated with it. You won't get any, because it's generic. The common example is Apple. If I sell apples, like a roadside stand, something like that, and I call my business Apple, that's generic for what I'm selling and what I'm doing. No trademark protection, doesn't function as a mark, nothing at all, right? The next level up of the 5 that I'm going to talk about, the next level up is descriptive. Sometimes people say merely descriptive. And the reason for that is that when you first make it up, it just describes what you do. That's not generic necessarily, but it just describes what it is that you're doing. And out of the gate, again, really no trademark protection available for it. However, such a mark has the opportunity to acquire distinctiveness, cleverly called acquired distinctiveness. A good example of that is Singapore Airlines. Everybody knows Singapore Airlines. It's a pretty famous mark, actually. There's a lot of airlines that are geographically descriptive and say airlines in them, and we know these marks. These marks have acquired distinctiveness. Singapore Airlines has acquired distinctiveness. But it didn't when they first made it up. Here's the other half of this example. I live on an island. It's north of Seattle in Washington State in the US. It's called Orcas. I could buy a plane, start shuttling people around, and call it Orcas Airlines. I told you, hey, I flew Orcas Airlines yesterday. People be like, I have no idea what you're talking about. It does not have acquired distinctiveness. I flew Singapore Airlines yesterday. Everybody knows what you're talking about. So you can pick a mark like that, but you have to recognize that you've got some work to do, and it's going to take some time to acquire that distinctiveness so that you can get the protection for your trademark. Acquired distinctiveness. All right, right smack in the middle, we have suggestive marks. These marks are a little bit like the descriptive marks in that they incorporate concepts. Oh, there's my dog. They incorporate the concepts that they're doing, but they're not really describing it. An example of that is a company around here called Infosys. One word, Infosys. And it's suggestive of what they do because it's not really describing. They're not actual words, but they create systems that manage information. So it's very suggestive of what they do, Infosys, and that's right in the middle. This you should really consider this to be the bottom. At least get this far when you're coming up with the marks that you're going to use. All right. The next one up, and the top two actually are sometimes handled together. Both the top levels are very defendable marks. The penultimate one is what they call arbitrary, right? And I'm going to go back to Apple. Very common example, Apple. But instead of for a roadside stand selling apples, let's do it for computers and cell phones and watches and music players and services related to those things. It's just sort of arbitrarily associated with my company. It's just Apple, right? So that's actually very strong. Another example that I might make up, so let's say I have a company, a side hustle doing snow tires, and I call it Pixie Shoes. I didn't make those words up, but they're arbitrarily associated with my company making snow tires. That's a really defendable mark. And then at the very top of the list is something they refer to as fanciful. These are terms that I absolutely make up. They didn't mean anything before, they didn't exist before, I made them up. The common example for that is Exxon, right? It's not an acronym, it doesn't mean anything at all. It's just Exxon, right? They made it up. And that level of trademark strength is called fanciful. Those are the strongest marks. But it's really those top two, arbitrary and fanciful marks, that's your target zone. Here's the challenge. When you're working with your marketing folks, your branding folks, they're going to push you back the other way a little bit because they'd rather have something that's at least suggestive, like the Infosys example, right? It implies something, it suggests something, it gives a little something to the person consuming that mark, a little something about the brand or about what you're offering. Now it's a business decision for you. It's not a legal decision because you understand these relative strengths and you're going to make a business decision about what mark to then go and vet, do the clearance, make sure it doesn't have anything in the way, right, that's already out there, and then go with that mark. But now you can make a very informed decision. This is all your intellectual property. You have more of it than you think, and we'll talk again soon.